is so easy to look at celebrities and think they have money, they have fame, they have all of the success that a lot of people dream of. There's nothing else that they could want, right? Hi friends, and welcome back. Today I am so excited to get into a review of a book that I wasn't even planning to read in August. My husband actually came across this book on social media and sent it to me as a suggestion, and I was super intrigued by the title, so I thought, okay, fine, I'll give it a try. But then I could not find it anywhere. It was literally sold out on Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble. It was sold out in my local stores, but I didn't let that stop me. That intrigued me even more. I needed to know what was in this book. So I decided to give this book a listen on Audible, and I was so pleasantly surprised by the narration. It was actually narrated by Jennette McCurdy herself, and there was so much emotion in the reading. You know when you listen to some audiobooks and it sounds like you're in a lecture and like you're forcing yourself to enjoy the words, but the actual reading itself just doesn't click with you? That is not how this one was. I have to say, I don't even know that I've listened to an audiobook that I really loved, but her reading of this book was phenomenal. So let's get into the review. This book is so many things. Let's just take a minute to really think about the title here. I'm Glad My Mom Died. And the cover is a photo of her holding an urn. That is deep. This is not one of those celebrity memoirs where it's a highlight reel and they share all of the phenomenal things about their life, their accomplishments, sprinkle in a few bad things. This is not that kind of book. This book is heartbreaking and revealing, and it's also really well written. And it's about a woman who anyone in their 20s and 30s is probably familiar with. She was a Nickelodeon star. We saw her on iCarly and Sam and Cat, meanwhile having no idea what she was really going through. She has had such a successful career, and I can definitely say that I had no idea the things that she was living through during the times while filming those shows that so many kids and teens watched. And it is so easy to look at celebrities and think they have money, they have fame, they have all of the success that a lot of people dream of. There's nothing else that they could want, right? Jennette McCurdy begins the book by describing some of her life's earliest memories and by describing her mom and their relationship. And pretty early on, you can see that Jennette's mom needs professional help. She's unstable in her emotions, in her reactions, in the way that she holds on to everything. And she shares with Jennette that it was always her dream to be an actress, but that she couldn't pursue it because it was something that her parents didn't support. And she convinces Jennette at the early age of 6 that she should go and be an actress and live out those dreams that she didn't get to have and get the life that she always wanted but didn't achieve. And Jennette says yes, she wants her mom to be happy. She wants her mom to be proud of her. And from that early decision and from that early age of 6, we see that Jennette has this deeply rooted self-responsibility for her mom. She feels responsible for her happiness, for her health, for pretty much everything in her life. And it goes so far that Jennette actually uses her birthday candle wishes to make wishes for her mom and for her mom's life. Jennette describes her experience becoming a child actor, and she describes the good and honestly the really terrible parts of it. She describes the pressure, the training, the auditions, so many aspects of what she was living with at a really, really early age. So Jennette describes her journey into womanhood and the struggles that came with that. Her mom wanted her to remain thin and look young, to keep getting casted in those young Nickelodeon roles, and put so much pressure on her to not grow up, to not have her body change. And she puts so much pressure on her that they actually create a meal plan, or her mom creates it for her. And she says, okay, you can eat 1,000 calories a day. They plan it all out. I mean, it's steamed vegetables only for dinner, that type of scenario. And Jennette wants her mom to be so proud of her for going above and beyond that she decides, I'll only eat half of that, which is just 500 calories a day. She was eating just 500 calories a day to maintain that image and to make sure that her mom was happy with her. This book actually opens with Jennette saying, Mom, I finally got to the goal weight. I'm 89 pounds. Isn't that so exciting? That line is so devastating and so telling about where her life's journey goes. So as the book progresses, Jennette starts to resent her mom, as I think that any person would get to. And I mean, when you think about it, she hasn't been able to wash herself. She doesn't eat more than 500 calories a day. She hasn't spent more than a few hours away from her mom ever. And she's never gotten to do anything for her life the way that she wants to. She at points recognizes that she doesn't want to do the things that she's doing and only does it for her mom, but it's still so deeply rooted that she can't stop. We get a little insight into her working relationships in this book. So we hear a little bit about her experience working with Miranda Cosgrove on iCarly. We hear a little bit about her time working with Ariana Grande. There was one person that she became personal friends with, the other one, not so much. And we also learn about her experience working with Dan Snyder and working for Nickelodeon. And I am just so thankful that she was strong enough to be able to share these experiences with us. So unfortunately, Jennette's mom gets cancer again, and she passes away, and Jennette is completely devastated on so many levels. I think that she's just broken. She resents her mom, but she still has that really deeply rooted responsibility for her happiness and for her health, and in a sense feels like she failed, but also knows that these aren't normal feelings. And as she gets a little bit older, she's starting to realize that something wasn't right about this relationship and about the things that her mom did and said to her. But it is so ingrained in her that she can't eat without feeling resentful. She hates acting and never wanted to do it, only ever getting into it for her mom, and feels like she still owes that to her mom. It is so deep. She's now left with major eating disorders that are affecting her body so badly, and she just doesn't know how to move past this. Jennette's boyfriend at the time tells her that she has a problem and that the only way that he'll stay with her is if she goes to therapy. Now, I don't know if an ultimatum is the best way to get someone help. I guess it worked a little bit because she does decide to go, but it wasn't because she recognized that she needed help. She was dependent on him. She needed him in her life, so she was willing to do therapy if that's what he said was required. So she starts going to therapy, and I do think that it helped her in a way. She starts to be able to identify that she has a problem and that it's not healthy, and her therapist is helping her identify some patterns, some triggers. But there's an event that happens and she spirals, and she blocks the therapist's number and stops going and relapses horribly bad, even worse maybe than it was before. So then we move into the second part of the book, where she starts to come into her own and transform a little bit. And she recognizes that this can't continue. She can't continue her life the way that it's going. She recognizes and wants the help even though she knows it's hard, and even though she's not confident that she's going to get there, but she does start to see another therapist who has helped her identify these things and who she has continued to go to. And I think that this therapist worked for her better maybe than the first one. And I don't know why that is. Maybe people just have something that works better for them, but he helps her to track, to identify. There are certain parts where she really doesn't agree and doesn't like the way that he's doing things, but ultimately I do think that it helps her. So this book ends with Jennette recognizing that her mom was a lot of things that she never realized. So she now understands that her mom was a liar. She was manipulative. She was physically and mentally abusive. And she still has so much love for her. But she is able to recognize that she romanticizes her mom. And she is starting to work through some of those things. Now that you guys know more about this book, you will understand when I say this book was deep. So I want to give you some trigger warnings so that you are prepared in the case that you're interested in reading this book. Please know that there is abuse of pretty much every form in this book. There was child abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. There were eating disorders, very descriptive recounts of eating disorders. There was mental illness, substance abuse, grief, cancer, undiagnosed narcissism, grooming. I mean, these are major, major topics. So please be prepared in the case that you're interested in this book. This book is eye-opening, and it is a very real reminder about mental health and getting the help that people need and speaking about these things. And this is not a backstage pass or getting extra information about what her time was like on her Nickelodeon shows. This is someone's real life, them dealing with trauma and trying to overcome those things. It feels too weird to rate someone's story about their life, so I'm just going to say that I think that this was a fantastic book. I would highly recommend that anyone watching this read it, and I think that Jennette McCurdy should feel so proud of herself for having the courage to speak about these things, to share the struggles and trauma that she is still dealing with today. It is not something that just went away for her. She is still dealing with this, but I applaud her for being so open about this and for sharing about this. She is raising very real issues, and I love the message that she is sharing here in that it doesn't just go away. This is something that she's going to continue to have to work on. While I shared a lot of information about this book, I did not outline every story or every experience that she had. I would still highly recommend that you read this book, and I really hope that this book reminds us all that we don't know what people are going through. I would love to continue the discussion on this book, so please share your comments down below. Tell me what you liked or didn't like about this book. I'd really love to discuss it more with you. Of course, I have put a link down below to my Goodreads where you can connect with me there to see what I am currently reading and see my most up-to-date reviews. And I've also linked down below to Book of the Month Club where you can sign up for a discounted price if you are interested. Thank you all so much for your support. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!